tight. You see it? You see it? Let me actually calm down. Alright, what's going on with your boy Quick Off? I'm back with another video, man. Look for my stars where I am simply not going nowhere. Now, if you frequent my channel or you watch my sneaker reviews, you typically know the format is initial reaction. Unboxing the shoe, taking the shoe out, trying it on for the first time, kind of getting my initial reactions. But unfortunately, I ended up rocking these outside before I even recorded my initial reaction. So instead of just faking my initial reaction again, like coming back in the house and being like, this is my, I just thought, man, let's just go ahead and jump straight into the review. I jumped straight into rocking the shoes for multiple days. Now, let me just say this. I rocked these for 8 days in the gym, running errands, but I also had one 12-hour day and one 10-hour day where I was sitting in the car for 3 hours driving to Dallas. I had a full day there nonstop from when I woke up from 6 a.m. all the way till 7 p.m. The next day, 7 a.m. all the way up until, I basically did 2 12-hour days back to back in these shoes. So I feel like my opinions on these shoes are pretty valid. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into this review. Now, when it comes to my reviews, the first thing that I always start off with first is going to be sizing. Sizing is the thing I feel like most people have the questions on whenever I do an unboxing, whenever I'm out in the streets and somebody asks me about sizing, you know, whether it be on some other social media platform, the first thing that people always ask if they see me wearing a sneaker that they want to get, it is sizing. Now, as y'all know, if you frequent my channel, I am a size 9.5. That is what I get in every single sneaker across the board. New Balances, Jordans, Salomons, Asics, whatever the case may be, I am getting a 9.5. 9.5 across the board. These are a 9.5. I can comfortably say these are true to size. I've had no issues. I've had no instances where I was like, my foot's rubbing against the side or like the top or like whatever the case may be. These are true to size. And I think what really aids this shoe in being true to size is typically when I get a sneaker that has a mesh upper, that usually has like the breathability aspect, the wiggle room aspect. This does not have a mesh upper, but it does have a very soft leather on the top. And I feel like that really aids in me being able to move my toes around, me not feeling like I'm really restricting it. Like it's a really soft, I believe this is leather or, some like type of rough out leather, like something like that. I think that's what really aided this sneaker being true to size. Again, I've had no issues. I rocked this for multiple days, for multiple hours. Had no issue as far as sizing. So if I'm going to be the reason that you buy these and you're like, I just want to know what size I should get, I believe you go with your true size. Now again, my foot, I have a very flat foot. I have like a very minimal arch in my foot. I have a very like standard foot shape. Like it's not like wide or anything. Now, if I do stand on my feet for a long period of time, I will begin to swell up in my foot. But again, even with that, when I rocked it for the 12-hour day, I didn't necessarily feel like I was restrained or cramped in the shoe. So again, sizing wise, I believe you can go true to size with the GSTAAD. This is gonna be the K Swiss Rabbit Club. That ended off very weird. But let's talk about comfortability. Now, when it comes to comfortability, I'm just gonna get this out the way. Is this my most comfortable sneaker in my entire closet? The answer is, no. Now, in my entire closet, is this the most uncomfortable sneaker I've got? No. So I think this truthfully, if I'm rating it and scaling it on a scale of 1 to 5, these are right at a 3. And that's not bad. That's not saying it's mid. I'm just saying like in comparison to like my most comfortable sneaker, which I would consider a 5, to my most uncomfortable sneaker, which I would consider a 1. These sit right in the middle. Now again, I rocked these for 12 hours one day and then like 10 to 11 hours the next day. I was on my feet a lot. I was outside, I was moving around, Texas humidity, all that. So like I was putting some good time in this. I will say right around like the 4 to 5 hour mark, I was having difficulty, like just a little bit. My toes started to get like a little bit like tired. Like I think, again, when it comes to the heat, I don't necessarily know what the bottom of like this shoe is made out of. But as I was walking on like pavement and like it was really hot, it started to feel like this material at the bottom was like shifting around a little bit. But then after being back in a cool area, I started to feel like it started to stabilize. So I don't know necessarily what that is. But that is something that I did want to bring up. I remember when I was feeling that, walking outside on hot pavement, I was like, why does it feel like I'm kind of like shifting in this shoe when I'm taking steps? But then when I got in a cool environment, it felt like it kind of like hardened up again. I don't know what that is. I can't really speak to it because I don't know if that's like intentional or like it depends on the material, but that is something that I knew I wanted to bring up. But overall though, comfortability wise, again, it sits right in the middle. Like it's not uncomfortable, but it's not super comfortable. I think if you're just going for a sneaker that doesn't have the whole functionalities of like it's intentionally being made for comfort, I think you'll have a good time with these. Now again, they're sitting at a 3. But I will say though, the caveat to that is, if you watch my most recent sneaker review where I paid $225 for a sneaker, I would consider these more comfortable than that sneaker. I'm not gonna disparage and talk bad on that company because you can go watch that video. But I would say these are more comfortable than that sneaker. And just to give a peek to the inside of the shoe, this is what the insole looks like. A little bit more built out than like typical insoles. Some insoles are literally just like flimsy paper. This at least has some intentionality behind it, this little part right here. So overall, I think if you're paying $130, you got what you paid for. Truthfully, like you got what you paid for. Again, it's not super comfortable, but it's not uncomfortable. It's just right in the middle. I will say though, this is comfortability aside, I did rock this sneaker with a white sock. Let me just tell you, I thought I was bleeding. I took my shoe off and I saw the sock. This red insole lining like stained the inside of my shoes. And I know the other pair of sneakers that I got from K Swiss have the same like insole. So I'll say just be wary of that if you have a white sock. The insole did bleed just a little bit on my sock.
What did he say?
The insole did bleed just a little bit on my sock. Jesus. Now, stylistically, I usually don't do this for my sneaker reviews because I feel like the way I'm gonna rock a sneaker may be different than that next person. But I feel like this will be helpful in the case because K Swiss is a brand that people may look over. People may think like, oh, they're kind of like, they're not in the conversation no more when it comes to sneakers. I'm here to say, if they keep putting out things like this, and obviously they got the Rakeem Miles and Carrots and all that, if you keep putting out colorways like this and being a little bit bold with the colorways that y'all doing, y'all go slowly start seeing K Swiss creep up into the conversations. The amount of times that people ask me like, oh, and I'm gonna be real, the amount of times that's probably making it seem like, tens and tens of people ask me. 3 people did ask me like, oh, what shoes are those? And I was like, oh, they're K Swiss. And like every time I said that they're K Swiss to these people, they were like, oh, K Swiss? Okay, like, and I feel the same way because this sneaker, I genuinely did not expect this out of K Swiss. Like the colorway on this is fire. I styled this maybe 3 ways on like social media, like I posted on Instagram. But like these are really great sneakers. Like if you're looking for a color pop for the summer and you're not looking to spend $180 to $200 plus on a sneaker, I would say give K Swiss a shot, bro. Like these are, even this silhouette on their website are actually good sneakers. And like having my experience in this and having my own experience to like really judge K Swiss based on this right now, it's a good start, bro. I want to see more of this. I want to see, I want to selfishly see like an animal pack. So like a zebra, cheetah, leopard. Like I want to see an animal pack with this silhouette. I want to see different textures. I want to see multicolored laces. I want K Swiss to be a little bit more bold. Like this is bold color wise, but I feel like they can really take it up a notch with this sneaker. Because like I've got stock before and asked like, what sneaker is that? So stylistically, these were actually very surprising. And I think it's gonna surprise people the amount of times that I do rock this in a fit pick. But I feel like the colors just like, it adds something to an outfit that I feel like I wasn't necessarily having in my closet until I got these. So stylistically, these are great. I think these will look great with like baggy shorts, which are currently still in, jorts, all that. I think these will look great with denim, like, baggy denim or just like regular denim. I rocked this with slim and baggy denim, and I really feel like those outfits were still well put together. So like stylistically, don't sleep just because it's K Swiss. I feel like this is the era of sneakers that I'm really enjoying the most because it's not just one giant taken over the whole scene of sneaker cultures. I feel like, you know, people are considering the Reeboks. People are considering the K Swiss. People are considering, you know, the players that may not have been big maybe like 5 years ago, but they're starting to get their shine now. So this is what I like to see. I like to see different players doing different things, you know, being competitive to like who can make the best sneaker. I'm all for that. But that is gonna wrap up my review of the K Swiss Racket Cub. This is gonna be the GSTAAD or GSTAAD. Hopefully somebody corrects me on what that word, how do you pronounce that word? But again, don't sleep on K Swiss just because you hear the name K Swiss, you're like, oh, like they're not Nike, they're not Adidas, they're not. Don't sleep, because I feel like they might start creeping up by the end of this year. But again, if you have a pair of these, if you own a pair of these, let me know what your experience was in these shoes. Help other people build their experience so they can make a more informed purchase. Let me know if you don't own a pair of these, what do you think of this silhouette right here? But without further ado, like I always do, I will catch y'all in that next one.
Love the way you work it. Ay, I love the way you work it for me.